Chris Mannix joins us, host of the Chris Mannix Show, weekday afternoons on NBC Sports Radio, the 24-hour sports talk network. Download the app and subscribe to the Mannix podcast. Chris, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Good. So I got to start with this Sixers team, man. It seems to be totally changing everything. You see them on top of the highlight shows now. It just seems to be changing how people view this entire organization. But one of the big things about this team that now is starting to be talked about, because, there's always those two sides, the people who were for the process, people who were against the process. And now there's the question of, are they winning too much that could possibly inhibit them from progressing? What is your opinion about that?
No, I don't think they're winning too much. Look, their draft picks are stocked for the next couple of years because of the moves they've made over the last few. And now is the time you want to really dig into the development of Joel Embiid and eventually Ben Simmons when he returns into the lineup. Everything should be focused on getting wins and establishing a winning culture with this team. It's going to be a rough couple of years for these guys. I mean, it's nice to have some positive momentum and the handful of wins they picked up in recent weeks have been certainly been exciting. But this is a team that's going to struggle to win close games, just like Oklahoma City once did, just like the Utah Jazz very recently once did. They're going to go through some growing pains, and it's going to be tough. But so for right now, every game has got to be focused on trying to learn how to win late.
And, of course, winning, you have a star like Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons coming. You also have your role players like T.J. McConnell and Robert Covington. Talk about the value of having role players that fit well with superstars.
Well, it's important because now that you've got Embiid as your 5 and eventually Ben Simmons as kind of your 3/point forward, the job of Brian Colangelo becomes to how do you build around these guys and who are the best types of fits. Now, I would think that some kind of stretch 4 would be an ideal fit alongside a Joel Embiid, someone to space the floor and create more space for him and Ben Simmons to operate. On the same time, if Brett Brown is committed to playing Ben Simmons as a point guard, your next step is to find an elite shooting traditional point guard or a guard that you can play there who can space the floor as well. And, McConnell's done some nice things. Covington's done some nice things. Of course, they've been valuable to this team during this recent stretch. But as this team moves forward, it's going to be very important for the front office to go out and get established players who can complement his young stars.
Chris, you mentioned Brett Brown. There was some talk early in the season. People wanted Brett Brown gone. They felt that he wasn't the man for the job. But now the team has been winning. They've won 7 of their last 9. They're 6-2 in the month of January. So moving forward, do you think Brett Brown is the right man for the job?
Oh, I think he's the right guy. Look, the last couple of years, you could have melded the ghost of Red Auerbach and John Wooden together, and they wouldn't have won any games with this team. It stunk, and there was a reason for that. They were trying to be bad, as we've all kind of learned in recent years. But I think Brett Brown, look, he's got the same pedigree that a Mike Budenholzer has. He's worked on Greg Popovich's staff. He's experienced winning at high levels with that team. And I think he's done a very good job over the last couple of years, at very least, of keeping kind of some positivity inside that locker room and keeping these guys looking straight ahead. Very rarely have you seen disgruntledness. It happened recently with Nerlens Noel, but that's almost a good form of it because there's too much talent in your front court, and these guys that are good players just want to play. So I think now you're seeing just how good a coach that Brett Brown can be. He's got a very good assistant on his staff, and Jim O'Brien, who I think has helped him out. I think he's absolutely the right guy for the job, and he should be committed to there long term.
Chris, you mentioned the Thunder earlier. I was watching the Thunder-Warriors game last night, and 2 things stood out to me, which is, 1, Russell Westbrook is such an amazing player, but he has absolutely almost no support around him. And the other thing that I walked away from that game was I really wish it was the 1990s and Russell Westbrook had Charles Oakley on his team.
Yeah, to back him up there a little bit.
Right.
Yeah, I get that. I think 2 things. One, it's very clear they need some kind of perimeter scoring option. They need Kevin Durant, frankly, or something. There's a close facsimile to him to take pressure off Westbrook and to keep defense from collapsing on him. That being said, they did play without Steven Adams last night, and Steven Adams is the closest thing to a second option that this team had. And if you go back to the first matchup with Golden State, Oklahoma City was either neck and neck or in the lead at various points during the first quarter. because Steven Adams was able to dominate physically. He is a legit, throw the ball into the post, expect him to score type of big man. So I think Oklahoma City's in a good position with Westbrook and Durant at the 1-5. They've just got to find somebody at the 3 spot, somebody to come in and replace Durant and give them some scoring. If they get that, I think they'll catapult themselves up into that 4-5 range very quickly.
With all the conversation that goes on about Westbrook and the Warriors and James Harden, are we overlooking the Spurs too much?
Well, I mean, we always overlook the Spurs, and we kind of ignore them and pretend they don't exist until we get to April, when they turn the Jets on and start playing really well and become that championship level team that we're so used to. The wild card with the Spurs this year is not Pau Gasol, who I think is going to be fine, supplanting Tim Duncan. It's what are they going to get from Tony Parker in the playoffs. Now, Tony's just in his early 30s, but he's been playing in the NBA since he was 18. And he's played like 3 full seasons of playoff games at this point as well. And he's shown clear signs of wearing down, fatigue over the last couple of years. When they get to the playoffs, he's going to wind up matching up with the Chris Pauls and the Steph Currys and even go on down the Westbrooks, go on down the list of the great point guards that are in the Western Conference. James Harden, perhaps, if they wind up facing Houston. That's going to be a challenge for Tony Parker. He's got to find a way to not play those guys to a standstill, but at least give enough offense to offset the type of production they're going to get from the other side. So to me, he's the number one wild card with that team. If he's playing well, San Antonio is every bit the title contender they've been in years past.
One more quick question before I let you go. Clippers without Chris Paul. So is this era over with them? Are they gotten past their expiration date?
Well, it's over if Steve Ballmer says it's over, the owner out there. And look, if he wants to bring this gang back together, it's going to cost him, total with luxury tax penalties, about $250 million. It's $150 million for payroll and $100 million in luxury tax penalties. Will the Clippers owner have the stomach for that to recomprise a team that has only gotten out of the second round or has not got out of the second round up until this point? It's going to be difficult. I mean, they're kind of at a crossroads right now. I think the Paul injury probably detonates their chance to win this year because they're probably going to wind up in that 5 spot in the Western Conference and have to open up on the road in that first round before maybe facing Golden State in the second round. And I don't see them getting very far in that type of matchup. It's going to be a long conversation with Doc Rivers, with Steve Ballmer, with that front office about what to do with this team going forward, because they are getting old, they are expensive, and that's not a great formula for success.
You can follow him on Twitter at Chris Mannix YS. He's the host of the Chris Mannix Show weekday afternoons on NBC Sports Radio, the 24-hour sports talk network. Download the app and subscribe to the Mannix podcast now. Chris, appreciate the time.
Anytime.